Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the preview for the game between Manchester United and Spurs. This isn't the 9th time we've tried to go live. It's actually the 10th time we tried to go live, but we are here now. We're here to talk about the game, and we're also here to talk about a lot of shit that's going on at Manchester United as well. So, we shall discuss this, I don't know what we'd call it, Europa League fucking clash, if you will. Fight for 5th or 4th, whatever you want to call it. Are we looking forward to this game, lads? Premier League, what's the kind of general consensus heading into this? Hopeful, fearful? Talk to me.
Like kind of a mixed feeling. Like we were like it's been long. Like it feels like it's been long. Like we have seen a last football game, but then again, United has been so much. Like you can't judge them whether they are going to play very good or they are just going to drop their weapons down and give a bad result. So like
Yeah.
a mixed feelings.
Yeah, it's definitely been a mixed bag on it, Connor, this season. We've seen, just as an overall, we've seen a couple of nice moments. Garnacho red kicks and a couple of Maguire kind of redemption arc and stuff like that. But I think the shocking results that we've also witnessed kind of outweigh that situation. And it's hard to grasp where United are heading at the moment, because this is a game in it that either way, if United won, it wouldn't shock you. But if United got absolutely battered, it wouldn't shock you either, would it?
No, and it's like whenever time we win a game, it's like we always seem to like lose this season. So it's kind of like when you try and pick a bit, like when you want the team to pick up a bit of consistency, it's like we just don't seem to get that. We can't go on a run of games and just get the results that we need. So it's kind of like we was all happy about that Aston Villa win, for example, thinking that would spare us on for a little bit for like Nottingham Forest, and then we came crashing down.
Spur us on.
Forest.
That's what he did there, cheeky.
So and then obviously we've beaten Wigan, which we've had a week to prepare for that, but also we did play a strong team compared to a League One side. So that's so we should be at least beating them at least. But so obviously the positivity from that is we probably looked the best we have just because of the team. Obviously Wigan obviously going to be struggling against us in some way, but the only thing is it's like the lineup, which I'm hoping because we see Garnacho is better off the right, for instance. Rashford will be better off the left, and then obviously we hope Højlund will be up front. If we see any change, like Rashford's back down the middle, or McTominay's back as like the holding midfielder, then that's when we're going to have the issue. And then, so Tottenham, they've got a few new players in. We know that if Son's fit, that will cause us problems. Kulusevski causes problems.
Yeah, Son's at the
Asian Cup.
Yeah, wow. He's not there.
That's one player down.
Yeah, but, happy days.
Even though we like to mock Timo Werner for his finishing and whatnot, but I feel like Timo Werner is very good at going out wide, and he can cause us problems still because he likes to bring people in as well. So it's just there's certain players that worry me, but hopefully we can get a win. It's at Old Trafford as well, so it's a bonus for us. But yeah, it's just if we can be up for it.
What weapons do we have, Sam, that you think can hurt Spurs? Even if stylistically, if you look at the way they play, you look at the individuals that they have, is there any angle you're looking at this? Even if you was a coach for Manchester United, where you'd be like, yeah, that's where we can get at him.
Absolutely. Like we've seen, no matter what, Ange Postecoglou is going to play with a high line, regardless. Like he lost 2 men against Chelsea. He was down to 9 men, and he still had his defenders on the halfway line. And it took Chelsea still like 50 minutes to work out, if we put a ball in behind, we're in here. Yeah. But it took him ages to figure this out, and eventually did, and then they killed the game. And that Nicola Jackson got a hat trick, didn't he? Even though played awful, ended up getting a hat trick.
By the way.
Exactly. But there's the answer. You put a ball in behind this team because they're not going to change, regardless of whether they're losing, whether they're winning, or whether they've got 10 men at time. And this is how they're going to play no matter what. So you know what you're going to get. So unless Ange Postecoglou suddenly decides at Old Trafford, I'm going to change tactically, which I don't think he will, but you never know. This is how they're going to play. So you know exactly what you're going to get. So you want pacey people in behind. You want balls in behind. So you need Bruno on it. You need Kobe on it. And if Eriksen's fit, Eriksen's the guy you want because he's capable of those passes. Balls in behind to Rashford, Højlund, and Garnacho, who are all quick. Balls in behind, you'll have so much success all day long. However, our finishing has been fucking abysmal from pretty much all our forwards. So that would be the issue, is putting those chances in the back of the net, because Højlund had 4 chances, 3 of them against Wigan he should have buried.
Yeah. McTominay as well.
McTominay with 2. So this is the thing. The chances, we could definitely create the chances. It's whether we put them in the back of the net is another matter. And Spurs going forward are very, very dangerous. We've seen it with Kulusevski. With Richarlison is even scoring goals now, which is worrying. They've got Bentancur back. I don't think Maddison will be fit already. It's a good job that Son's out, because he would be a worry as well. So they have got dangerous players that can definitely play. And we, like Connor said, we can mock Timo Werner all we want, but as soon as we do that, you know he's going to score, don't you? You know he's putting one past Onana. He's going to trickle a ball, and Onana's going to fuck it up, and it's going to end up in the
memes.
And that'll be it.
Yeah, the memes.
That'll be it. You'll never hear the end of it. So
yeah,
we can win this game. They are a very beatable team, but we have to finish our chances, and we haven't been doing that. So that's where the worry lies.
It's interesting, isn't it, Dan? Because when you cast your mind back to the first game when we played them at their stadium, which seems so long ago now, the main issue in that game was the midfield, wasn't it? With Casemiro, how exposed he was, and how much space. Every time Maddison got it on a half turn, they were just killing us on the transition. Do you think we've addressed that issue?
I think not. Still not. We haven't addressed that issue, because tomorrow most probably we'll be playing Maino and McTominay in the midfield, and you know that McTominay will be going up ahead in the pitch, and then Bruno will be going like a pendulum the whole game. So your midfield is already not in a place to have a proper wall of 3 players. You will never see that in whenever we play McTominay in that midfield. And Maino, I can see, will be standing alone in the midfield. But good thing is Basuma is not available. I think he has got the straight.
And Sarr as well. I think Sarr's at AFCON.
So I'm very thankful, because I've seen Basuma in Tottenham formation, and the way they play, and how many times Basuma just keeps the ball and rolls up high up the pitch, and that lets other players to take their places in the attacking positions, and then he just give the killer passes. So I think we are very lucky not to have him. Also, Son is not there. But yeah, midfield still a concern, because even though regardless of whoever the opponent we are playing, our midfield is still not having that chemistry in between them. Hopefully Casemiro is available tomorrow, but I don't see him starting the game straight away. So maybe in the second half we can see him come on. But yeah, we're going to struggle in the midfield part.
I think to have the 2 players back, you mentioned Casemiro. I think everyone first and foremost wants to see Casemiro and Kobbie Mainoo in the midfield with Bruno just ahead of him. I think that'd be really, really good to see. But then also, Connor, all eyes on Lissandro in this one. He's the one, I think, out of everyone that they've been kind of pushing out there a little bit, that he's trying to get back for that game. How much of a fucking positive thing would it be if he came back into the side, and how much have we missed him?
Well, I think we've definitely missed him a lot. With the amount of changes we've had in defence, it's been a bit of a crazy season, to say the least.
Yeah.
But, I think if the team line came out and Lissandro was named next to Varane, I think we would be a bit more confident.
For sure.
And, Varane and Martinez is the best partnership we've got at the minute. So it's kind of we need that stability a bit in defence. And obviously we need midfield to be okay as well, just to be on the extra safe side. But I think if Lissandro came back, it's just the question is he ready to come back? And will Ten Hag think, is it too soon as well?
Yeah, you don't want to rush it, do you? That's the thing.
No, because it's he kind of got rushed, to begin with this season, and then he got injured again. So it's kind of we don't want to make it worse, or, put him back out on the shelf again, which hopefully, fingers crossed, that will not happen again, because we kind of need him now until the rest of the season to try and at least turn our season around and try and finish better than what we expect. Because, at the minute, we probably think we're going to finish around, 5th, 6th, or even worse, don't we, with the squad we've got right now.
Definitely. Keep getting your comments in. I'm going to read a couple out shortly. Make sure you smash a like on the video, and happy weekend, everyone. Get a whiskey or beer or whatever preference of drink you have down here, because I'm certainly going to have one very, very shortly. yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it, Sam, with injuries at the moment, because you had Spurs, right, started off like a rocket. Everyone starts talking about them winning the fucking league. Then they get, a couple of injuries, go through a rough patch, didn't win in like 5 games, I think. I think they lost 4 and drew 1. But then recently, 5 games, and they've won 4. So coming into this, they've got no Maddison, they've got no Son, no Basuma, no Sarr, no Lo Celso. I think Romero's a doubt as well. So their injury list, is almost as bad as ours in that respect.
Yep.
How do you see this playing out? Because it's 2 teams in it that aren't nowhere near the strongest on either side. So does that favour us more, or does that favour Spurs more?
It probably favours Spurs more because they've been in good form, like you mentioned. They've also had a better season than we have. New managers come in, developed a style of play that's exciting. The fans have got excited about the play, seem to be buying into it and enjoying it. So they've got all the sort of positives going for them. Whereas in comparison, if you look at us, everything that can go wrong has gone wrong for us. Every single player that performed last season has either been shit or got injured. Rashford, Bruno, Casemiro, Lissandro, and then the players you thought would kick on after their first season and stuff like that. Anthony hasn't. With Martial's still ill apparently, whether you believe that or not, go figure. So yeah, it's been an absolute clusterfuck of a season for us, and then the results haven't been there either. So you've had like losses to teams we should not be losing to, and we've had results where you're like, how the fuck have we managed that? Like, it's been a weird, horrible season for us. Where in comparison, Spurs have done quite well. Yeah, they had that run of 5 games, but they're are they 4th in the table?
Yeah,
5th?
I think so.
4th in the table, not too far off top 4, like staying in the top 4 and stuff like that. They're investing in January. They've just bought a Romanian centre back in, is it Dragusin or Dragusin? I apologise. They've just got him in. I imagine they might buy somebody else as well because, like you said, the injury thing. Whereas in comparison, we ain't buying anybody that I know of. And if we do bring somebody, it's going to be a temporary loan. So it's like you couldn't be 2 more polar opposites at the minute. It's like it's a total contrast. But they are, like I said before, they are beatable. They've got injuries as well. We've got players coming back. So the opportunity is there. I just don't know whether I have the faith or not that we're going to take full advantage of it. That's why I have the problem.
Just sticking with Werner, Dan, because that's an interesting signing, isn't it? Because when we're looking to kind of bolster our options up top, I know a lot of us said that we didn't want him, but if you look at the options that are there that you could potentially go and get, he's probably one of the better ones because he has got Premier League experience. He's a good player in the sense of, when you take goal scoring out of the matter, he's not a bad player, which is, I know he's an attacking player, but you take my point in that. What do you make of that Werner deal? Do you think he'll do well for Spurs? And equally, if he is available, do you think would he worry you at all coming on Sunday?
Yeah, I think I don't see him starting regularly for Spurs because now we see Richarlison is getting back to form. In the last 5 to 6 games. He has scored like 5 goals and like from nowhere he has picked up his form and now like looking like a prime Ronaldo. So, with Werner, I think definitely a good option for a backup role. Why not have a player like Werner and who's still very young. He's not like look like a very old striker, but the only thing was like he is not scoring goals. He was missing a lot that actually has degraded all his whatever the status he has built up before coming to Premier League. And now I think that could be a point of revival of his career. But yeah, I think most of the thing was that dependent on was like he was not scoring goals and missing a lot of chances. But then like most players have those kind of rough patches in their career. But then if you take out those missed chances, you can see a better player in that particular player. And that's what Werner is. Like he has the pace and he has the skills, he has the quality and he has the intelligence. But only thing was not kicking out was the scoring, like the goals he was missing. But that is just like a chance. But for Spurs, I think it's a very good deal for him, especially when player in Son is not available for a few games, and he can fill his spot there as well. Because in Premier League before he was playing more. In sometimes he was also playing as a winger, So he has that experience of playing in as a winger where Son plays. So maybe in future, not tomorrow, but maybe in future we can see Richarlison and Werner both starting with Werner on the left hand side.
Yeah.
But yeah, against I'm really fearful for these kind of players where they are getting battered and then they play against us and they become like a superstar here. And
Yeah.
I
Always
can't imagine.
happens.
Always happens. Like I won't be surprised even if Vegas play against us tomorrow and he scores a hat trick.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely bang on. I actually want to get the stats of how many successful players there has been that have come over from the Bundesliga to the Premier League, because straight to my mind, I think Havertz, Werner, Sancho, Mkhitaryan, Kagawa. I know there's been ones like Gundogan and maybe a couple more. Like, I don't know if you'd include Akanji in that because he came from Dortmund to City. But the majority never ever live up to their expectation. And I want to get an actual percentage on that because I think it's interesting.
There's a couple of leagues that don't translate well to the Premier League. Serie A doesn't seem to translate very well. Yeah, well, let's not set Nick off. Serie A doesn't translate very well. The Dutch league so far, Lissandro aside, doesn't seem to translate very well.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the two that seem to translate really, really well. La Liga and the Liga in French league.
Yeah.
They're the only
Either
two.
way as well. Like
Yeah.
when Modric went to Spurs, Bale went to Spurs.
When you see that, anytime you buy a player from the French league or the Spanish La Liga, like they seem to develop and be all right. Whereas in Germany, like you said, it's about 60-40. Serie A, it's about 50-50. So yeah, it's an interesting sort of study to look at. And everyone goes, oh, you need to sign this, you need to sign this guy, and you just think the league styles are so totally different. Like you can't. It's like people say, oh, you should sign Osimhen. He scored how many goals last season? 25.
A lot. Put it that way, a lot.
In the 25 in the league, and this season he's not done so well. What's to say the guarantee that he comes over and he absolutely smashes it in the Premier League?
The price he was asking for as well, Napoli, just like 140 million or something. You're like,
and then the same with the guy we've been linked with, Gurasi. I think he's for Stuttgart. Yeah. He's the season before this one. He didn't have a great season, but this season he's hit the ground running and he's like second top goal scorer to Harry Kane, I believe.
Yeah.
But it's one good season and it's not even over yet.
That reminds me of Patrick Schick when he had like 20 goals.
He had that goal in the Euros as well, didn't they? So everyone's like, oh, this is it's
like Aspas in the Spanish league scored like 18 goals before. It's like, them kind of like
it doesn't always correlate. So you got to be careful, man. You got to be really careful.
Yeah. Just the last question on Spurs, Connor. What have you made of Big Ange, since he's taken over Spurs? Do you like the football he plays? Do you admire it from afar?
Yeah, I think as a football perspective, I think it's attractive to watch, and it's like kind of what you want your own team to do. Because obviously, it with like Ange, it was like I think as a neutral as well, you'd be like questioning why Tottenham brought this guy in when there's like probably some like more experience that could come in.
Yeah. I think he was talking to was it Nagelsmann, I think, as well at the time.
He turned them down, didn't he?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
If he, that's the kind of guy that I would thought would have been probably good for them or something. But if you turn them down, then obviously that's you can't really do much about that. But I think still, like Ange was a bit of a surprise for me. Like they got him, and then thinking like, well, he's had what 1 or 2 seasons at Celtic. Obviously, he's won a few titles and that. But like, when you think of that, it's like. He's done it at Celtic now, isn't it? And it's like,
we were just talking about translation then with leagues and saying how hard it is.
Brendan Rodgers and Gerrard won titles in Scotland, so
exactly.
But like, he has kind of like shocked us all to some degree, and I think with Tottenham losing Harry Kane, especially, we all thought Tottenham would drop so massively and struggle to get into the top 10 without him, because like they have previously struggled without Harry Kane with goals and all that. And if Son's not firing, because like Son was having a bad season last season, so it's kind of like, where would the goals come from for Tottenham? But he has kind of, I guess he's kind of, pulled confidence in the players. He's also let them like express themselves as well. And I guess like the players like Maddison, he's kind of stepped up this season as well because he kind of had a poor season with Leicester the season before.
Oh, he was he was unreal though before he got injured. One if like that's the player I would have been scared of the most if Maddison's available tomorrow.
Yeah.
He kills you in as a centre
price
attacking
is
mid.
what was it, like 35 million they paid for?
He's such a good player. Like
ridiculous price, absolutely ridiculous
yeah,
price for that.
top player.
But like, you look at the squad that they've got. Obviously that Undogi looks quite good to be fair at left back.
One of the better left backs in the league, I'd say.
The centre back
Van de Ven
has been
unreal.
The goalkeeper, Vicario,
Vicario,
excellent.
Top. Another Italian.
Excellent. Yeah.
Interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Like, Van der Ven's, I think he's back as well now, isn't he? So he could be starting.
I fucking hope not. I hope not. No, yeah.
Like,
no idea.
That Sarr as well. He's someone that's been out like the fiddle with Tottenham, and now he's come in and he's actually cemented his place. So and then Zuma as well. So it's just I think credit where it's due. And has done a very good job, and I would be worried about Saturday if they do still get it working anyway.
Yeah. Thing is, there was a weird thing when Kane left. Everyone was like, "Oh, what's going to happen now? Your top goal scorer's gone," and and they're actually playing better. And it's that weird narrative, isn't they? Saying like, "Well, can you imagine if Tottenham actually go win something now? Kane's finally left after all the years, and then Bayern have dropped off a little bit because with Tuchel there." So.
It was like us with Ronaldo, wasn't it? Like everybody was saying, like Ronaldo was the reason we scored so many goals and managed to get Champions League football, despite the fact it was a shit season. But then you look at it and go, was that good for the rest of the team to have Ronaldo? Like, he wasn't good for the rest of the squad cohesion in the team, was it?
Oh, you mean the second time he came back?
No,
so I thought you were saying the first time. Then I was like, oh my God.
The first time he came back, he was excellent, wasn't it? And everybody's like, and then the second time, you're like, he's a negative to this team. Like, the way we're trying to play. Like, there was that game where Sancho and Bruno were like, Jay Motti on Paddock described it as, when you go to the soccer dome for a birthday party and everybody's passing it into the birthday kid so he can score. That's the vibe you got. And then since he's left, like with Harry Kane, it was the same. So everything had to go through him, and he scored a lot of goals. But since he's left, everybody's gone, well, we can all play now. So Son's contributing, Richarlison's contributing, Maddison's contributing. Like everybody's contributing now. And it's sort of lifted the team almost.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just going to read out a couple of comments, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do a combined 11, a quick one, if we can. So,
United players are getting in this enough.
I know, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think Shreyas is a fan of your lighting, Dan. He's loving the little blue colours. He's signalling his return, Casemiro Raj back for real. Rashford will have the benefit of feed tomorrow. I don't know if he's on about the Bruno supplying. So glad to hear Amad Diallo running on grass, ready to make a return tomorrow. Well, he's already made a return. I think he was ill. For the last game. So yeah, look, I want to see minutes from Amad more than anyone on the planet. So I do hope he's available and not out again with illness. Okay, combined 11. We're gonna do it quick. We're not gonna, this is why I chose this guy and Goalkeeper.
Vicario
at the minute, yeah.
Correct. Right back.
Porro.
Yeah.
I'd say Porro.
Has to be Porro.
Yep, I'd say Porro. Centre backs. Now we're not doing this off form. It's just what centre backs would you have there?
Got to put Van de Ven in, haven't you? Van de Ven has to go in.
I'd have Van de Ven in there.
I'd have Lissandro as well.
Yeah. If we're going off just general, not this season.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you're going off general, then yeah, Lissandro and Van de Ven. But if we're going off this season, you can't put Lissandro in because...
Yeah, because he's been out, hasn't he? Yeah. Agree with that, Lissandro, Van de Ven?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going smoother than I thought. Left back, Udogie. I'd say.
We haven't had a left back.
Yeah. It was just looking about like... We're going to discuss the left back, actually, shortly.
Put regularly on in there.
Oh, God.
He's a Spurs player as well.
There, so
he's a fucking Spurs player.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Midfield, Basuma.
Yeah, for sure.
Kobe, yeah.
Yeah?
Maddison.
You have then...
I'd go Maddison over Bruno.
I'd go Maddison over Bruno.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would.
You going Bruno, Dan?
Yeah.
Okay.
You think this season Bruno's been better than Maddison?
No, but we are taking it in general, right?
Yeah, true. That's a good point. But I mean, like for Spurs, because obviously we're doing it. We're not talking about him at Leicester, what he's done for Spurs and what Bruno's done for United.
this season.
You just pick. If you want to go with Bruno, you go with Bruno.
He's gone with Bruno, so we'll go.
Okay,
We've all voted Maddison.
Maddison's got in there. Front three. Who would you put in there?
Son has to go in, doesn't he?
Oh yeah. As a striker though, or as would you put him out on the left?
Either way.
The left, I'd say.
Yeah, over Rashford. He's not going to play over.
Yeah.
Okay. Dan?
Yeah, I don't think any of the United players will come in the forward line.
Okay. But then Garnacho or Kulu on the right?
Kulusevski.
Kulusevski, because...
Yeah, Kulusevski.
Yeah.
And then up top?
Well, it can't be Højlund, can it? Because he's not scored.
He's literally not scored in the Premier League.
Problem, yeah.
So are you telling me Richarlison's going in this team?
He's scored more goals, hasn't he?
You
Unless you put Son in the middle and then we put Garnacho on the left.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
Could do that.
I won't.
I can't put Richarlison in a team.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Should we let's do Son down the middle and we'll put Garnacho on the left.
Yeah,
and then
Garnacho, Son, and Kulusevski. Yeah. Sorted. Let us know what you think of that combined 11. Who you would swap out? Who you would change?
3 United players.
Yeah, Lissandro, Kobe,
and Garnacho.
And Garnacho.
Fucking hell.
Three players. That's where we're at.
That is horrible.
That is where we're at, unfortunately. Okay, quick fire questions. Super Sunday. Spurs at Old Trafford. Will Anthony start?
No,
I haven't picked him, so.
No. Will Timo Werner score?
Why are you putting that out? Why are you putting that into the world? Fuck.
I think if he comes on, he will score. Because we are so unlucky with that situation.
Timo Werner, 90th minute winner.
I hate you so much, Dan.
Just think of like when Den Donker scored against us,
Yeah.
that game.
We make these kind of players look like a superstar.
Yeah.
Quick fire, remember, lads. Will Timo Werner score?
Yeah. I want him to.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Jesus, all three said yeah. Who'll score first, United or Tottenham?
Tottenham.
Spurs.
Yeah, Spurs. We always go with us, don't we?
Okay, here's a question for you. If you had one player to score a penalty to save your life, would you pick Timo Werner or Richarlison?
Oh, good. Richarlison?
Does Richarlison take pens?
I don't think any of them do, to be honest.
No, I've seen Timo Werner take a pen, but I've never seen Richarlison take a pen.
To save your life, remember, there's a lot riding on this.
I'd put Richarlison because Timo Werner can't hit a barn door. Like he can't. Like he's not.
I'll happily die rather than seeing them miss.
I'll die. I'd rather die.
Yeah, rather than put you through the anxiety of having to watch them take the fucking penalty in the first place. Yeah. Connor?
Yeah, I'll go with Richarlison.
Okay. Poor Timo. Last one. Who will be the one to watch this game, do you think?
Kobe Mino.
Okay.
Is it Dogi out?
I don't know. That's the one I couldn't check. I had to look at suspensions and I couldn't see him on there, so
if he's in, I'd say him.
Okay.
Oh, he's in, I think. He's not out. Yeah.
Okay.
He's in.
I'd say Kulusevski.
Kulusevski. I don't know if Kulusevski's available either. I heard a couple of things. Literally, it's just going to be a guess who with this fucking Tottenham team on Sunday.
See who shows
No
up.
idea. Yeah. And you said who, Dan? Sorry, Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe.
Okay, interesting. Should we do predicted 11s then? Because basically we've got 2 teams, haven't we? So let me know who's first.
You and
then
Connor.
Yeah, so me and Connor have gone, and correct me if I'm wrong, Connor, Onana, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Lissandro, Delo. Yeah?
Yeah.
Kobe, Mainu, McTominay and Bruno, not because we want it, because he's just going to play it. And then Garnacho, Højlund and Rashford. Do you have faith with myself, Connor, that Lissandro is going to be back?
Yeah, I'm rooting for it, to be fair. I want to see Lissandro back in that team.
Yeah. I would be like a fucking kid at Christmas if Lissandro starts tomorrow. Honestly, I can't wait for him to get back. But don't rush him back equally. If he's not available, he's not available. The midfield, I think everyone could probably agree with that. And that's our best front three in terms of how they're playing, if that makes sense.
Is Amrabat still out as well.
He's at
He's at
AFCON.
he's at AFCON, I think.
Right.
So yeah, he's not available. So we're limited in midfield as we have been. Oh, it's felt like we have been fucking ages. Dan, Sam, hit me up.
Yeah. So me and Dan have gone for Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Evans, Onana, Dallo, and again the midfield of McTominay, not because we want it, just because we think it's gonna. Bruno Fernandes, Mainu, and then Garnacho on the right, Højlund up front, and Rashford on the left. I wouldn't be surprised to see Anthony in there. Like, it wouldn't surprise me, but I just think because Garnacho's been so good off that right, I think he might keep with it. Yeah, I don't think Lissandro's going to be 100% enough to start, so it's going to be the same centre-back pairing we've got because we haven't got anybody else. So,
Anything to add to that, Dan?
I think similar to what Sam has mentioned. With Lissandro, I don't think I haven't seen actually any time like a player is coming back from injury and straight into the team.
Yeah.
So he'll be slowly building up his stamina with the team. And with Anthony, we have already seen like how Garnacho is good enough on the right side, and also we have Ahmad, who has proven himself even in the last game. So, in my opinion, Anthony at this point should be the third in the picking orders with Garnacho.
An 85 million quid player, third.
you know what?
Order.
Make him the backup the left-hand side, because at least he'll use his foot and be able to put a ball in for Christ. Like, he'll use his left. Like, Jesus. There's a question from Tom Goldsworthy, who's a Real Reds member. Shout out to Tom. Thoughts on Tadebo's preference for Liverpool, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, of course, if you get offered Champions League football, and obviously Liverpool are better than us at the minute, it's kind of, you can kind of understand it from a player's perspective. But I think just the pure fact that he plays for Nice, I think that kind of favours us a little bit, because obviously the Jim Ratcliffe ties, I just think they'd be able to kind of, get a bit of a deal done, you know what I'm saying? Just in my opinion, anyway, at least.
Yeah, it's set up for us to be first refusal, isn't it? If we don't get him, it's basically because we didn't want him. If we don't get him, so
yeah. Well, you best not fuck about in the summer. If you want him, go get him. It's going to cost 40-50 million quid. Yeah. Get rid of Varane if you need to. Get them wages off the bill, and fine, good to go. Right. Last one, discussion of players. Sorry, because we've got quite a few things that have come out literally just before the preview. You mentioned Anthony there. Eric Ten Hag has come out, kind of defended him, saying the off-field issues have been a huge distraction for him. Is that a valid excuse for all of you guys? When you watched him how he's played this season?
I think if you look at any sort of player
like that, no.
I think if you look at any player, there's going to be mental health and outside stuff that always affects the way they play. Like we saw with Jesse Lingard, was it somebody close to him die, and he had to look after his nephews or something. I can't remember what the specific.
Yeah, I think his mum was really ill or something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So he had to look at like stuff, and then we saw with Sancho, who's obviously gone as well. He had mental things, and Ten Hag gave him time off. We've seen it with Rashford, apparently. Like when he breaks up with his girlfriend, his form seems to go in the toilet.
Yeah.
So like, they're on a lot of money, and they're getting paid like to live a dream. But again, like shit affects you outside of things. So I think while the excuse is valid, and I think it does affect him, I still don't think he's good enough, because the season before, when he didn't have these issues, I didn't see enough from him to go, this guy's got something. So I still don't think he's good enough, but the point is valid that it does affect players. Yeah.
And you mentioned, go on, Dan, you want to jump in?
Yeah, just to add on that, I think like it mentally affects the player, but then again, like from the last season itself, we have seen that he has not been providing us that energy from the right side, which we need to be as an right winger, especially the pace. The pace is missing in him. The pace of the Premier League, which is required in the games or in the when we are playing against the top teams as well. So the pacey wingers are one of the key statistics that we have to see when we are buying a wingers, and Anthony doesn't fits that bill. And in Premier League, you will see a lot of crosses coming in, but when it comes to Anthony, we haven't seen much of the crosses coming in. And just to compare the stats with Garnacho in the last game, Garnacho, while playing on the right side, he was able to take like 4 shots on goal and 2 on target, and with that also he was able to put in like 6 crosses in, with that 2 successful crosses in. So the player who can play on the left side can do that on the right side, where Anthony, being a right winger, cannot do that. I don't think that has something to do with what he's going through. But on contrary, we have seen players who have been suffering mentally and maybe family wise also, who has come up and just shown a different level of playing. Like if you
Yeah.
see in the likes of Luis Diaz, like he has come on and shows and scored a goal, and he has just showed all his thing on the pitch. And similar with Ronaldo, when he lost his daughter and he scored in the very next game. So these type of, and I personally believe like Anthony has that mentality. So that's why I'm saying this, because we have seen that his mental strength is strong. So that's why I expect from him to go through these kind of situation easily and doesn't reflect those personal problems into the game. So I don't think that can be the reason for his downfall here.
Well, from one really expensive winger to the next, Connor, Ragnick's been speaking about James Sancho, saying when he was fit, he was a starter and did well under me. He didn't get a chance to play in Manchester. He now has to get back into rhythm in Dortmund and really get back into form. From his point of view, the move makes perfect sense. He also went on to say like he never had an issue with Sancho, trained absolutely fine and all this kind of stuff. What's your take on this situation? Because since he seems to have ruffled a bit of feathers with a couple of videos that he's done kissing the Dortmund badge, saying, back. I'm pretty sure he was late for his fucking medical as well, which is just like fucking
I mean, if
hilarious.
that's true, then
He was
it's
slow there.
ridiculous. If that's true.
Mm.
Well, like, yeah, I think the attitude problem that he has, with not apologising and whatnot, it's just a bit childish, a bit, isn't it? Really, like,
Yeah.
all he had to do was apologise to Ten Hag, because I feel like Sancho was one of those, that was trying to get implemented into the team at the start of the season. Whether that was like as a false nine or right, left, or whatnot, I think Ten Hag was definitely trying to get him involved in that team.
Yeah.
And the last game he played for us was against Nottingham Forest, at home. So it's kind of like a long time ago now. But he's had these kind of attitude issues under a lot of managers, like Sam said in the group chat as well. So it's like there is something there that big managers or and teams are like they're not really that keen on Sancho, and I think that's why he's been moved on. Obviously, he might have matured in a little way in like some degree, but I feel like there is still that issue there, which will put off a lot of people, and that's why I think like Dortmund have brought him back, because I feel like they're the only team that utilised him, and maybe that's probably the best Sancho we've probably seen as well at Dortmund as well. So that's why I thought bring Sancho back, we'll probably try and get that link up, because obviously Sancho will probably manage to get a link up with like Hallo or whoever's playing up front with him and whatnot. And if he is happy at Dortmund, then fair enough. But I just feel like he could have gained a position at United, and he had his mates there like Rashford and whatnot. So it's kind of like it wasn't like he had no one there who he was close with. But it's just I don't know. I just feel like it's a bit of a toxic situation, isn't it? So I feel like for both parties, it's kind of like it is best that Sancho does go now. But it is a shame for us, because we waited a season on him. We really wanted to get him in, because we thought he would be the next winger that would rip it up and be our starting player for like years to come. But now it's like the amount of money we've paid, it's kind of like, well, what was the point? But what can you do?
Yeah, we forever burning money in our fucking pockets buying wingers that just do not work out at all.
Just players in general, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm glad you say players in general, because
why he got late for the medicals?
Go on.
He was busy in opening up his Instagram account.
Oh yeah, because he's reactivated it now, hasn't he? Everything's fine now, so he's reactivated it. He must have been sat there twiddling his thumbs like, oh, I can't wait to get to Germany. As soon as I get there, I'm gonna deactivate this.
You can't tag him though. I tried to tag him when we did a story, and you can't tag him.
Oh really?
So
interesting. Okay. All right. The last thing we're going to discuss before we finish this preview / news show off. Sam, Alvaro Fernandez. Talk to me about that. Because I know he was a little bit wound up about that situation. Supposed to be going to Benfica, for anyone who doesn't know, for 10 million euros, I believe it is. Yeah. Thoughts?
There's a bit of confusion, because initially Romano tweeted out that it's a permanent transfer, 10 million to Benfica. He went on loan to Granada, and apparently he's not really got a game. So I don't know what's going on there. And then Romano then clarified and basically said it's not necessarily a permanent transfer. It could be a loan with an option or an obligation to buy. to the end of the season. And then you said you saw something, but he's since then deleted it.
Yeah. Some
So-
tweets that like permanent transfer, so it's up in the air for anyone.
Unknown what's that? So either way, it looks like he's going to Benfica, either on a loan or a permanent transfer. One of the two.
Yeah.
I thought whatever it is. I think this would be such a huge mistake for Manchester United because we have historically, we've just spoken about Jadon Sancho. We have historically spaffed a shit ton of money up the wall for players that haven't worked out. Like, we can go through it. Anthony, Sancho, Alexis Sanchez. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we've just chucked money, I think, midfielders as well, and they haven't worked out. And we've had youth players who have not been given an opportunity, not been given time to develop and become maybe the replacements. Sir Alex used to do it all the time. He used to be like, right, we need to fill this position. Have we got somebody in the youth system that can do this job and save ourselves some money? And then that's how you got people like Gary Neville, like Ryan Giggs, David Beckham. That those people came in and filled those positions. We've sold the likes of Jimmy Garner, who I know Chivy liked quite a lot, and I was a fan of him. Sold him for 15 million to Everton, and he's now doing really, really well. You saying he couldn't do a better job than Scott McTominay? Better than Donny van de Beek? Do you know what I mean? Like, save ourselves 35 million, don't buy Donny van de Beek, put Jimmy Garner in there. Simple. We've got a right-hand side there, a left back, sorry. We've got Luke Shaw, who, when he's good, he's fantastic. But injury, crisis, and form up and down is what it is. We've bought in Terrell Malacia and Alex Tellez over the last couple of years. Not exactly lit the world on fire, have they? Not exactly been absolutely amazing. We've got Alvaro Fernandez, who's highly, highly rated, and he's been looked at by Benfica. And let's look at Benfica. Their scouting system does not miss. They don't miss. They buy quality players from across the world and then we'll sell them for like 4 times the amount of money. Darwin Núñez, Enzo Fernandez, like, it's, you know what I mean? You can go on and on the amount of players they've picked up for really low money and then flipped for like 4 times the price, and they've been turned out to be tremendous players. And if they're looking at this kid and going, he's good, we're going to snatch him up, and we have hold of him, I don't understand what we're doing. I really don't. Like, why not? Why is he not at United? Why have we bought Terrell Malacia? Why is he not playing? Why did we get an emergency loan in for Reguilon? And why were we playing Amrabat at left back when this kid is there? Like, give him his opportunity. It really, really baffles me that we keep doing this with young players and not giving them a fair shout, especially when you've got an injury crisis and you've got no other choice. It baffles me and it really winds me up, and I hope under Ineos this shit changes because I'm really sick of seeing it.
Dan, there's a theme with this at the moment. I'm going to say my piece on it shortly, but you've seen it with Palistre, they wanting to loan him out to PSV. You've seen Hannibal as well going out to Sevilla or Everton, I think Sevilla. At a minute, Sam mentioned James Garner there as well. Is that more of a concern for you, or does it make sense sales-wise? FFP maybe.
I think there has to be something to do with the trust issues with United. I hope I am wrong, but I have this against Ten Hag. Like, he has some like low confidence on these kind of a players just to bring them, give them the chances. Especially one of the example you can see with Bayendir. So like Onana, you have bought Bayendir to be a backup role for Onana, and now Onana, when he is not available, then you have to trust these kind of players. And if I'm in place of Bayendir, I would have been really hurt with this situation. Like, you are trying to hold one player when you can get a chances. You have bought Bayendir for these kind of situations where your one player is not available, and then you if these kind of situations also doesn't allow you or give you the chance to play. And again with Alvaro Fernandez, like, you know that this guy has got in him to start each and every game, and that's where Benfica is buying them. They will not keep him on the bench or keep him in the reserves. You will see him playing a regular football in a very near future. And then when these kind of players can play outside and at a very high level, then why not they cannot do that the same in this club as well. But I'm like, in some areas it seems like in the positions where we definitely need players, those areas we are just emptying it, and we are just stacking up the other positions like the right wing. So you have in the right wing like Ahmad, Pellistri, Now Garnacho also plays on the right, and Anthony is there. So with Pellistri, I'm fine because already you have players in Ahmad and Anthony playing there. But with Gardner as well, because we needed that kind of player in that position at that point, and yet we choose to sell him. And if we are willing to sell Alvaro Fernandez for 10 million, definitely teams like City or Chelsea can sell him for 30 to 40 million for sure. You know that if we are selling for a less price, then definitely he goes for like a double or triple amount. But yeah, I'm not happy with this transfer, especially with Alvaro Fernandez. And also Garner, I thought like he could have been a better player alongside a players like Casemiro and maybe another center defensive midfielders. And but the thing stands like we have like a trust issues on these kind of youth players, so that has to be rectified in the coming future. But behind the scenes, maybe Ten Hag knows better. Hope I am wrong. That's nothing, something like this. Yeah.
Dan, you spoke on Bayinde. The reason we brought Bayinde is because we let Kovar go, who was a youth prospect that we brought through and looked at, and we let him go. That's the reason we like. Why have we let him go if we're gonna bring in Bayinde and not play? Like, it's baffling. It fucking baffles me, the decision making at Manchester United.
It's like Ten Hag has a lot of control of the transfers as well. So it's like, when Bayinde comes in the conversation, it's like, what is Ten Hag thinking when, he's the one that's been proving it as well. Like, and he's not even played in one. And it's like, we've played Wigan, one day. And, that would have been like the time where you thought he would actually play. And now it's like, you're putting pressure on Bayinde to come in when Anana goes, because it's like, at least give him a game to see what he's like before, putting him under pressure against
Premier League game. Yeah,
exactly. When we don't even know if he's going to be able to, cope with it, or because obviously we've seen, goalkeepers like Dubravka or like whoever's come in that's like buckled under pressure, and then we didn't see him since. So it's like Kovar playing in that pre-season. I don't get why. He actually did all right as well.
Yeah,
I don't know why you just keep him and then like have him as like the backup and give him that experience as well under Onana, and then Kovar can just come in and out, or when we needed him. Because like now it just makes us look even more stupid for bringing Bayinde now, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You know what? A lot of the points you made bang on. I couldn't disagree with them. If I tried. The one thing with Alvaro for me personally is I like Malacio. I know we haven't seen a lot of him recently, but I think he's a decent backup. I've seen him have a good game. I've seen him pocket Salah in a game last season. Luke Shaw, for his injuries and stuff like that, I agree, but I also think I'm happy with him as a first choice left back. I think Alvaro's slight. I don't think he's amazing at defending. I think he's very good at going forward, but I think he needs time. I don't think he's ready for United at the moment, and if they need to sell these kind of players who they don't think are going to make it to the very top at United for FFP reasons or whatever it is. Same thing with Hannibal, Pellistri, these guys. It doesn't bother me that much, to be honest with you, but that's just my personal opinion.
But like, if you just sort of like look at it, like if you're talking from a financial perspective, we're selling them for FFP because the academy homegrown players, whatever the rule is. You've let Jimmy Garner go, who was a academy prospect, and we spent 35 million on Donny van der Beek, who's now on loan at a club, and we're paying his wages.
Yep.
Just save the 35 million, play Donny.
Yeah, I agree with.
You know what I mean?
Kovar as well. I agree with the Kovar
same thing. Like, it's just baffling decisions, and then you could have saved yourself on Malacia. Like, give Alvaro a chance as a backup to Luke Shaw, because Dalot could play left back as well. So you've got that option to switch if you don't want to sort of play him all the time. You've got that option to play Dalot there. It's such weird decision making from the club. Like, it really, like, if they've had an opportunity and they're not good enough, say like Tanith Chong, like he had opportunities, isn't there? Cool, let him go. Shola Shodatiri, I think he should be let go. I don't think. Sorry, Dan.
Shorty,
yeah. No, I don't think he's good enough. Hannibal, I'm at the point where I'm like, all right, I don't think he's got it. He's had opportunities. Don't think he's got it. Cool to let him go. But when they've not had an opportunity, like Jimmy Garner had like what, 2 games?
But if you're getting this guy's seen him in training every single day.
Yeah, I get that.
Every single day.
But he sees Scott McTominay in training every single day, and then he plays like shite in a game. Do you know what I mean? So like,
yeah, it's a good point.
I don't understand the correlation.
I see him more as a wing back for me personally, Alvaro. I think he's very good at going forward, but even in pre-season, certain games I was like suspicious, getting caught physically as well. But who knows? He could turn out to be a fucking world beater, and Benfica sell him for 70 million quid. Time will tell with that one. I think that's the only thing we can.
If Benfica are looking at him, I guarantee in about 5 years they'll flip him for 60, 70 million. I guarantee.
We'll see. Well, that one is to be continued anyway. But that concludes the preview. We have Premier League football back over the weekend, which I'm fucking buzzing. Can't wait to watch some decent football. Maybe not on United side, but as a whole across the weekend. Make sure you leave a like on the video for us. Subscribe to Real Reds Talk. Come and join us for the match as well, pre-match and post-match. And you have your pros and cons as well. And there should be a Saturday news show. So thank you to everyone for tuning in. If you want to become a member, click the link in the description. Drop us a follow on socials. And everyone have a lovely weekend, including the lads alongside me here. Peace.